Hello there, sociology class. I've had a number of you reach out concerning questions on the writing assignments for this course. And while I'm guessing that some of you have maybe taken a composition course and are less nervous about writing a paper in APA formatting, this tutorial is for those of you that are maybe rusty with APA formatting or have never had much experience with it. And so although things like Microsoft Word and Pages, if you're on a MacBook, exist, and I'm sure both of those do similar things, this tutorial is to show you how to do all of this quite easily in a Google Doc. So let's get started. Okay, step one is to get our paper set up. So the easiest thing to do is to just search for an APA formatted template in Google Docs. And here is one for a student paper. It's good to pick one for a student paper since those are going to be not having running heads and things like a research paper is. So step one, let's make a copy of this template. I'm going to call it just APA template, and I'm going to save it. I made a folder for my writing assignments here. So I'm going to select that and make a copy. Now once that copy is made, I think that I'm going to make a copy of this copy so that I always have the template for future writing assignments. So let's change this one to the name of the assignment you're working on. And I'm guessing most of you are watching this tutorial for the first writing assignment of this course, the sociological imagination paper. So we will make a copy with our title there and put it in the same folder. And once that is there, we can see, okay, we already did this, so we can delete this box here, which I love that it gives you the directions on how to do that. Just click on it, press delete or the backspace, and here we go. Okay, so no running head on a student paper in APA 7, but you'll notice here that although it says papers can be in different fonts, for purposes of this paper, it needs to be in Times New Roman. So I'm going to edit select all and change both the font and the size to meet my teacher's requirements. Okay, this paper needs a name. This is not a very creative title, but it works for purposes of this tutorial. There we go. And you'll notice below you're now going to just put in your information where it is needed. Okay, so yeah, the templates are really helpful because then you don't have to worry about setting up your title page and all of that. So we're going to put, I'm not very good at typing here as I talk, but whoops. Okay, start state. Okay, this is for, there we go. SOC 121. Okay, your teacher's name. You can call me Mrs. Daly or Professor Daly. I don't really mind. Whichever you prefer. We'll make it fancy here. And then you would change this with the due date of the assignment, month, date, comma, year. Okay. So again, yes, you could use other fonts. APA 7th edition is more inclusive, but the directions said to use Times New Roman, so let's just delete this bad boy. Okay, your title page is done. Now you'll notice that your title repeats on the very top of the second page where your paper begins. So let's just copy and paste that here. There we go. Okay, now the rest of this is just kind of like holding things, but it does give you some good advice on APA. And also remember that the APA style guide is in that writing resource folder on your Start Here page. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on to citations. Google Docs has this really cool feature here under Tools called Citations. And so you don't have to format these sorts of things by hand, it does it for you. So you'll notice you have to make sure you have it in the right formatting. So we changed it to APA 7th edition. And now let's look for something to put in here. So for the Sociological Imagination Project, I know a real common thing is the COVID-19 lockdown and schools closing and things like that. So here I just did a quick search and oh, hey, look, the press release from Governor DeWine's office announcing the school closures. Maybe you couldn't like remember what date that was from, but this gives some information here. So what we're going to do is copy and paste the URL. Oh yeah, wow, that was March 12th. You didn't remember that. That's okay. Add citation source. We're going to change, look at all these choices, but we're going to pick website. And then we're just going to paste the URL. So Control V that URL, hit search. Now look, it found a bunch of stuff for you, but notice there's some things missing. So if you were to just leave this, you're going to get busted for not being properly formatted. So you need to make sure that all of the boxes in that citation area with the blue asterisk are filled out. Now looking at our article, there really isn't an author listed because this was a press release by Governor DeWine's office. So let's go back and see how we should fill this in on our form. So we're going to change this to a corporation. It's not like Governor DeWine wrote that himself, so he's not really the author. And so we're going to change this back to, like the organization or corporation that wrote the press release for his office. So probably the best thing to say would be the office of Governor Mike DeWine. Okay, and let's make sure all the other blue asterisk fields are filled out with what they need. Yep, it's all listed there. Perfect. You're going to, once that looks good with all your information, again, if you don't have all the blue asterisks filled out, it's not going to format it right. The computer's cool, but it only can do what you tell it to do. Okay, so now you've got that citation. So you would just build, you could just keep adding more citation sources with that blue plus sign. But let's pretend that you're doing your paper here and you're typing about the pandemic, right? You're telling me all about like what happened, and then you're going to connect it back to your own life using your sociological imagination. But there's the date, right? Like when our governor announced the lockdown. Okay, so now we need an in-text citation for that. So if you click Cite, Insert in-text citation, bam, it does it for you. Add your period, hit your space, and move on to your next sentence. Eventually, when you're done typing your paper at the very bottom, you're going to want to put your reference page in. Okay, so the easiest way to do that, let's pretend like you're done typing your paper. You've got all your in-text citations in. You're going to go down here to insert page break because your reference page needs to be separate from the rest of your writing. Once you're done, you just click that blue insert references. It alphabetizes everything and formats it correctly. So again, as long as you put everything in that citation box on the right-hand side and fill out all the blue asterisks, using in-text citations and making your reference page in APA can be really as simple as that.